Hi everyone, I'm Alex Rosenfeld, founder of Freshwater Investments, and this is Coffee with a T-Bird podcast. I sit down with fellow T-Birds who are making an impact in business, leadership, and entrepreneurship. Each episode features conversations that explore the pivotal moments, personal motivations, and lessons learned on their journeys. Whether you're a student, alum, or someone passionate about business and personal growth, you'll walk away with fresh ideas. This is a bit more than a podcast. It's a platform for connections, storytelling, and celebrating the global spirit of Thunderbird. This podcast is sponsored by Freshwater Investments. At Freshwater, we make it simple for you to invest in large apartment communities across the United States so you can earn passive income, grow your capital, and benefit from real estate tax breaks without owning or managing property yourself. Negar, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Your first show, our first show for Thunderbird.
Do you live these days?
I live in Miami.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And
Yeah.
I heard you moved there just recently from New York?
From New York City, yes. Post-COVID or during COVID, we made the move. And yeah, so now
And
I'm
how's
in
it going
the
so far?
sunshine. It's going well. I do miss New York for a lot of reasons, but it's not a bad place to be, that's for sure.
Excellent. So let's rewind a little bit back and talk about what it all began for you. So what
Sure.
was your childhood like? Growing up in Iran,
My
then moving to
childhood.
France, and how did those experiences shape who you were becoming?
So, yes, I've had quite an eclectic background. I would say, well, I was born in Iran. Both my parents are Iranian, and we were in Tehran for, I think, 4.5 years before we made a short move to London for my dad's business. And then I guess they decided to move back to Iran shortly before the revolution started in the country. And I was there at an American international school for about a year before the regime changed. And my family was Islamic regime. So we all moved to the south of France, which is not a bad place to be. We were very fortunate that we had a home there. So basically from the age of 4 to, I would say, 8 or 9, I was kind of traveling all over the globe. So before we landed in the south of France, and then I grew up there.
South of France, what city?
In Nice, in the hills of Nice. It's like the northern part of the town, but it's a small city. It's beautiful everywhere.
And who were some of the people who really influenced you early on? Family, teachers, role models?
Yeah. Well, when we were in England for my first school in London, I would say my first grade teacher, my kindergarten teacher, she was very prolific and just, laying out all the different options, as an international kid that you have different languages that you speak and, maybe even different religions. And she was just very influential for me to be embracing my differences rather than just being I want to fit in with everyone. So she was lovely, but her name was Mrs. Lawless, and unfortunately she's left us. I looked for her recently, actually, and she's no longer with us. But yeah, obviously my mother, my grandmother, also I had a great aunt, all very kind, hardworking women. So yeah, I would say those people.
And so tell me a little bit more about your high school experience in France, because my daughter is a senior at school right now and my son is a freshman. So I'm very curious to hear differences between the high school experience in the US and high school experience in France.
So the French school system is pretty tough. I would say probably, I don't know about the Russian system, but it's pretty up there. I remember our math classes being really, really hard, and I would basically need a tutor to try to understand. But they were also big on learning new languages. English was the most common language taught, but also Spanish, because we were in the South. There was a lot of Italian speakers too, and also very much the German influence and all those countries too. So, being multilingual was appreciated, even though the French are very, patriotic. They do acknowledge the fact that, we are living in a global world. And so that's, I think, the first time where I was just very happy that I had a multilingual background and, kind of ahead of the curve. And then I would say, just very different culturally too. I mean, the French are more into working hard and then resting hard. We always had a break in the middle of the day. We had Wednesdays off in the middle of the week. So everything's about working, but also resting, which is also, I guess, a big lesson I learned early in life, that you don't have to
Nice.
rush
And
through
what
everything.
did you think? Sorry, go ahead.
No, that, there's a time and space for everything.
Gotcha. And what did you think you wanted to be back in high school?
I always wanted to be a dentist.
A dentist.
I don't know why. The kids were always like, oh, you have such great teeth. And I was like, yeah, I thought I would make everyone have great teeth if I was a dentist.
That's amazing.
Also an archaeologist, anthropologist, because I love discovering. And because we traveled so much, I thought it would be great to go in like caves and discover where everyone came from. Just too much Indiana Jones, I guess.
That's great. And did you have a job in high school?
I was teaching. Yes, I taught. I taught French to English. My parents didn't speak French, so they either spoke Persian or English. So I was teaching French, and I was also babysitting for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's fast forward a little and talk about your move to US. How did this come about?
So I was 17. I graduated high school. So a few years after my French school stint, my parents discovered an international American school in the south of France, and they basically told me that it's best that I go to that school because then I could go into American colleges, yada, yada. So I once again changed systems and, friends and schools and whatnot. And then, so I went to an American school and I applied to different colleges in the US. And I ended up going to Boston for my first year, to UMass Boston and then Boston University. And it was such a big difference for me because of the weather. Obviously, coming from the south of France to Arctic Boston was a big deal. But also, obviously, the culture and, just everyone was all American. It wasn't just at my school. Everyone was American. So, it was just a little adjustment. But I had enough in me, a lot of flexibility that it was okay, I thought. For the most part.
Got it. And did anything shock you about the culture in Boston?
Yes. So I remember coming to the airport. Actually, my flight was through New York. So I literally took the Nice, New York flight. And my mom had dropped me off in our little car. I don't know what it was back then, but it was like an Opel or a small car. And I got here and in New York, and it was like an ocean of taxi cabs, all like super big. And I was just really shocked. I remember having that image in my mind, like, wow, this is so intense. And then the way the cabbies were driving, like all the Indians, like I hadn't seen any, like foreign to French kind of people. It was just so crazy, but so fun. Like I felt like I was at home because everyone was kind of from everywhere. And then,
That's awesome.
And then the food, the quantity, and also the taste was clearly very different. And then just like the way people drank alcohol from the bottle and, like the refined stuff that in Europe you're used to, and it didn't exist here.
I see. And what was your major in the undergrad?
So I didn't know what to pick. So I picked economics, and I really liked it, actually. I was very good in statistics. I guess all those years in French math really helped me. And then I was kind of lost, to be honest. I didn't know what to do. And then my dad was living in New York and working in New York. And he said, do you want to move to New York? And I said, yes, I think I would. And then I applied to NYU Stern and I got in. And so then I picked finance and international business.
Okay. And what was your first job after NYU?
I was working in sales in a bank. And then I moved back to Boston again. My first job was actually in a mutual fund company where we were just like frontline customer service. And then I went to another mutual fund company and started selling mutual funds and annuities to international clients.
Okay.
So,
okay. All right. So now we're getting to the Thunderbird chapter. How did Thunderbird even come onto your radar? And what made you decide to go there?
I was just thinking, how did I come across that? So when I was in Boston in my first job, there was this girl that worked with me and she wanted desperately to go to grad school because she didn't want to work, have a job. She's like, I just want to keep studying. And I kept asking her where she wanted to go because Boston is full of schools and great schools. And she's like, somewhere far away, somewhere sunny, somewhere on a green campus, and somewhere international. And then one day she brought me her acceptance letter from this school I had never heard of. And she was like, this is Thunderbirds in Arizona. It's amazing. And it has all these international students and programs and there's a pool. And I was like, what is this school? And then like 3 years after that, I came to a point where I really wanted 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Where I really wanted to, extend my education and get my MBA. And then I thought of her and I called her and she had graduated. So she's an alumni and she told me, yes, you should come and you should go. And she gave me pointers and through the application process. And I think she even recommended me. And then I applied to a couple other schools. I can't remember where, but I remember Thunderbird was like where I wanted to be because I went to NYU. It was in the city. It was like a city campus. I just wanted that community feel and from a reputable school. So then I applied and I got in and that was the beginning and the end.
That's great. So what are your favorite memories about being a Thunderbird?
About Thunderbird?
Yeah, what are your favorite memories about being a Thunderbird? Yeah.
I think honestly,
being on campus, meeting new people, experiences.
It's really the people. I just have fond memories of the people and certain like events with each individual that I shared. A few academic like events and like I remember certain classes, certain professors that affected me. And then also our summer abroad in Mexico. In Guadalajara.
Where in Mexico?
I went to Guadalajara for 4 months. Well, we weren't just there. We were all over. But I think that was very, very meaningful for me because it's, again, another culture, different language, but with a cool, with my classmates and learning sort of a new language. And everything was really nice. I mean, there were hard days, but it was such a vivid and meaningful experience for me. So I would say that was also something I think any student should take advantage of when they go to school, go overseas.
And what was your focus? Was it finance, marketing?
I think it was international business, actually.
International business. I see. Got it.
Something like that. Okay.
And how did you find your first job after the graduation?
So we had a recruiting event, I think, on campus, and my friend and your friend Patrick was in consulting, and he was always telling me how great it was because he could really impact the strategy of companies or also just any kind of different silos of different companies and kind of have an entryway of assisting and also learning because I really wanted to learn on the job as opposed to just having a skill set and just implementing the same skill set every day. And so he just recommended I should apply for different consulting jobs, which I did, and just by a fluke accident, the guy from Ernst& Young liked my resume, I guess. I have to say, I did work towards it because there was a consulting group on campus, and then we did do some projects. Like we did do project work in the Caribbean. I flew to Bahamas at the Chamber of Commerce to try to figure some solution for like one of their academic issues. So I did take that class, and I think that really showcased, how much of like how much I really wanted to do this. And so I guess it impressed the recruiter. And also the professor wrote like a great recommendation for me.
Nice.
And Patrick taught me what to say too at the interview.
It's always helpful. So, and then you went and you worked in corporate world for a number of years. And
Yes.
then you took a big leap and shifted from working for somebody else to building your own thing, right? So what
Correct.
led you to leave your job and start your own business?
Well, I come from a long lineage of entrepreneurs. My father, my grandfather, and basically on my father's side, I would say 80% of them are entrepreneurs. So I definitely had the bug in me to start something new. I've always been very much into aesthetics, fashion, like interior design. I love everything that's pretty. So I just always knew I'd want to do something in that realm if I did it for myself. And also because every time I would wear anything or people would approach me and ask me, how did I style it or where did I buy it from? I mean, this is 20 years ago, like when we didn't have influencers. But people would always ask. I remember that. And I would always shop around for products that I wanted, and I couldn't find like a specific brand that would cater to having quality products, but at a more affordable price point. But that's cool and edgy and that doesn't break overnight. And so one day, on one of the trips with the family, we went to Turkey, and I remember just being so impressed by all the designs there and from a jewelry perspective. And when I came back, I just knew I had just turned 40 and I didn't like the corporate life. And I just wanted to really work with women and empower women. And I was just, doing some charity works. And then this idea came to mind, like, why don't I create a brand that I would wear? So, and I'm sure if I wear it, a lot of ladies would like it. And then I know it was just like one of those weird, I feel like literally it was talking to me. So I had to do it.
And a new business was born. So what's the name of your business?
It's called Ragen Jewels. So Ragen is my name flipped, and it was incepted in 2013. So it's been 12 years, a full circle around the planet. Yeah, it's just been a lot. It's been an adventure. Every day is different, and, it's been really, I think, positive because it helped me hone my skills.
Were
as
you
an
scared?
entrepreneur.
Were you
Yes.
scared at all to go
Very
on your
scared.
own?
So I started
how did you
it,
handle
and
the fear?
I just thought, I'm going to do this for a year. If I don't make it, I'll just stop and come. I can always find a crappy corporate job I hate, because I had the education, I had the experience, I had the language skills, I had connections. I always knew I would get a job, even if it wasn't a good job that I liked. So I wasn't worried so much for that, but I was like, if I don't pursue this, I'll regret it. Because I just have like a certain voice. There were some elements about it that really inspired me beyond just like, let's start a business and make money. My intention has always been to help women. And we did do quite a few, like a bunch of charity work. It works with different organizations for women, and also I employed a bunch of women and working with other girls and ladies. And it's been funner than I probably imagined my 12 years in a corporate realm would be.
That's great. And so as a woman in business, have there been moments where you felt you had to overcome certain assumptions or barriers? Like, how did you handle that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it got easier once I was in this, fashion business because it's predominantly women and it's catered to women. So we don't have much of a masculine presence, but I feel I was very much crushed in the corporate space because, it's still very much male dominated and not very, still, which is shocking to me, not very open to women being on the higher echelons of a corporate ladder, or just if it's only just to make the quotas, it's not an open discussion, so to speak. I mean, I know you're different, so I don't know, but there are a lot of men out there that, sadly don't think we are worthy of, being like their equals in the work field. So, and also generally, back then I was younger and more naive, and these guys, they were partners, and they just took a shot at whatever, any young woman at the office. And it was just such a bad environment to work in. It wasn't professional. And I just remember vividly saying, if I start this brand, it's going to help women. It's not going to, I'm never going to participate in that kind of toxic environment anymore.
That's great. So
I'm
that
happy
must be
that I was able to achieve that. Yeah, it's great.
So it sounds like it's one of the most exciting parts of your business.
Yeah,
these days.
for sure.
What else excites you in your business?
Well, I think it just comes full circle. For example, our factory's out in Turkey, and it's women owned, and they in turn help their siblings, their family members, mostly female, in higher education. And I feel like it's great that we can create that supply chain where the purchase dollars goes back to kind of a source where the funds are distributed mostly towards female education and just growth in general. And also at the same time, our customers are all women, and it makes me happy to know like we have thousands of customers or tens of thousands of customers now that wear our products, and it gives them more confidence every day, and they can cherish it. They have sentimental value. They're all heirlooms and that they can pass on. So yeah, it's just always like that trickle effect. It's a nice feeling.
Nice. On the flip side, what's been the hardest part, and what's the most challenging part of running a business?
I think by virtue of it not being critical for the mass population, it's still considered a luxury. And it's nothing earth-shattering in terms of like, it doesn't save lives. It's not a tech company. It's not, a solar panel company. It's just jewelry, and it's a saturated market. So it's been challenging to kind of position yourself in a certain light. And also just, for example, to get the funding. Sometimes it's been harder because it's female-owned, and there's just not that many dollars going around for a fashion business as opposed to like maybe a tech company or whatnot. So those are the downsides, but I kind of expected it. It's so funny you mentioned that because when I did our business plan, my challenge list was so long, and going through all the motions of the brand, it's actually practically none of those challenges were the real life challenges I encountered. Mm-hmm. It's all these other things that I never thought would be, so difficult for us to overcome. So, for example, I always thought it's going to be hard to hire the right girls or the right people who have the same like vision as me, and or that are easy to work with, or, that, I don't know, have great taste or tastemakers and good socially, etc., and visually as well. And then it was the opposite. There's so many people who are very talented and kind and social and business savvy, etc. And it's and I was like, oh, you just go to the bank and get some funding, It's like, not at all. That's not happening. So, it's stuff like that.
I guess your business must be a very marketing heavy, promotion heavy.
Digital.
Can you talk a little bit about that side of your business?
Yeah, sure. I mean, our core presence is really on Instagram. Instagram and TikTok now brings along all of our customer base just because,
Do you have to dance on TikTok to promote your products?
I haven't danced yet, but I don't know. I actually recently just talked to a bunch of young men who are maybe going to help us with that because they have a whole network of female influencers in the college, different colleges all across the US. So, and that's a great market segment we want to penetrate. And so we were talking about dancing. They said I didn't have to dance. So that's awesome. That would be a nightmare. But no, I mean, essentially we did. Sorry, I forgot your question. You mentioned what were the
It was about, your marketing, basically about your marketing strategy.
Yeah. So
And
we
you mentioned Instagram.
We have a digital firm, digital marketing team that are fantastic and have been with us since day one. They do all of our marketing with Meta and all of our ads, content creation, and they're a global brand as well. So they have people who work from Poland, from Argentina, and in the US as well. And then we focus on content creation for our Instagram, obviously, and for TikTok, and then updating the website and just any collaborations we do. It's all about content these days, so turned into a director, a videographer. But it's been interesting.
Yeah, these are essential skills today.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's lighten it up a little bit.
Okay.
So what's one of your favorite places to visit these days, and what's your dream destination? What's on your bucket list?
Travel. I really, really want to get to Japan if I can sometime soon. It's, I actually took Japanese for a year. Don't ask me to talk, but I did. And I love their culture. I love, obviously, their food. And, my best friend has visited many times and she said I would absolutely love it. So that's really like somewhere I want to land.
And what's your favorite destinations that you had visited before?
Recently, I've been to Denmark and I really loved it there. I love the culture and just the way the Danes think is very open-minded and very environmentalist and very clean. And I don't know, it's very safe and they eat properly and, they live well, which is very nice. So yeah, I always knew I would love Denmark and I did.
Nice.
Where else? I mean, I've been to Turkey's beautiful. I've been many times. Greece, obviously, we talked about that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place.
Colombia is gorgeous. I mean, I think when you visit anywhere in the world, there's sides of you that come out and you it ignites like some kind of joy in you. But I guess some countries more than others because of your background or just what you like. But it's your
all right.
screen.
Last couple questions.
Sure.
If you could give your 20-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Ooh, so I'm 20 years old?
Yeah, you're 20 years old, but you have all the experience and all the wisdom that you have right now. What would you tell yourself?
I would say live your dream. Whatever your instincts tell you and whatever you feel you're good at, that you can contribute to easily, that's your passion, that you don't even need to think in terms of time or, level of effort, do that because you'll succeed at that. I think a lot of people are just worried about what people are going to say or how much money they're going to make. And, money is just energy. It comes to you when you're feeling fulfilled and happy with what you're doing. So I would say just pursue like your passion. And I know it's been said before, but I really, truly believe that.
And what advice would you give to young women, especially Thunderbird students who are trying to build confidence, find their voice in the business world, or starting their business?
Yeah, I would say, study the space in which you really want to get into, know about maybe your challenges or the competitors but also more importantly, I think you want to focus on what you are going to share with, your audience and what makes you unique and really focus on that, like your own value proposition, so to speak, of what you're proposing to your audience and hone on that. And it has to make intuitively sense for you. But I think don't try to copy or be another version of another brand or another company, or just be authentic and just be more true to yourself. And also, if you need any guidance, I can help too. Feel free to reach out to your fellow teammates.
That's my next question. If people want to ask you questions or follow your work or check out your business, where should they go online and how they can find you?
The brand is ragenjewels.com. That's our website. Feel free to email us. There's a contact form that you can email. And if you're a T-Bird, I actually read all of these emails, so I'll be sure to respond. And then on our Instagram, it's just Ragen Jewels. If you want to DM us, that's fine too.
Excellent. Well, Negar, thanks again for being here and sharing your story.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Thank you. It's the first one for you, and I'm so proud of you for taking the initiative to start this, because I do think we have a beautiful network of people and we are always out of touch. And I wish we would be able to get our MTB or some other form of, communicative software tool where we can all just be there. But in the absence of this, I feel like what you're doing is a great step forward. So thank you so much for that. For being pioneer.
And thanks to everyone for listening. We'll catch you next time. And as Negar said, live your dream. Take care.
Yes, thanks. Bye, Alex. Take care. Bye.